Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, and joining me today, our friend Vitor. Hello, Vitor.
Hello, everybody.
魏特，非常欢迎你又来了，很开心。
Yes, I was too happy I had to come back.
Now I feel like an old friend with you. And in the previous time, I was still very polite and didn't ask you to introduce yourself in Chinese. So, would you 用中文介绍一下自己呀？
哎呦，可以啊。你好，大家好，我叫魏特啊，就是我中文名叫魏特，然后来自于巴西，也已经在中国快10年了啊。
你是在中国学的中文吗？
哦，对，来中国之后才开始学。
哦，那很厉害哎！
没有，但是我主要来中国的原因，就是因为我找到工作才来。
那你是一直在北京吗？因为你有北京口音哎。
不是，因为我其实不是那个10年之内，可能7年半我在上海啊。其实对，
但是你完全没有上海口音，你现在就是在讲北京话啊，就是 talking in a real Beijing accent.No,
this is the real 普通话。
That's not the real 普通话。The real 普通话 does not have that many 儿化音 either. It's closer to 普通话。
Well, that's good enough for me. I'm still a Lawai. You know what I mean? No, but the truth be told is, jokes aside, is my first Chinese teacher, she was from Harbin.
啊，那你没有东北口音啊？
不是，没有，但是因为他就是按他教的那个方式啊，以后我也学不会他上海的口音，
就是北方话口音，
已经差不多有一个就是偏北方的一些口音，但是刚好现在我来北京就越来越北方化了，
真的很北方话。你有听到过最北方话的外国人？
那没事，我回头给你介绍几个。
That's a compliment.
哦，谢谢。
I'm just saying your Chinese is really good.
Thank you very much.
And I want to know whether or not you know China a bit more, or the knowledge about China is at the same level of your Chinese language. So let's do a special episode for today.
All right, I'm nervous now.
Don't be nervous. You're going to do a great job. And for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. So here is the conversation, and let's see if I think you're going to understand the conversation quite well, but let me try anyway. 你知道中国共有多少个民族吗？是56个，每个民族都有独特的文化习俗。没错，还会举办少数民族运动会这样盛大的活动呢。哇，好想看一看啊。What do you think? Straightforward, quite so easy.
Direct, yes.
Very direct. See, that's the thing. When we are picking conversations for our learners, we try to make the sentence relatively more precise. We make sure that each and every component of the sentence serves a function, not like 可能已经大概差不多快. These words, they're important actually in daily lives, but we're still in the stage that we want to let's say include the words that actually mean things,
right,
so that when our listeners want to compose a sentence, they can find the words they need.
Right.
So we're still at that stage.
Okay.
So for the first sentence, 你知道中国共有多少个民族吗? What's the sentence mean?
You're asking me if I know how many ethnic groups there are in China.
Ah, quite good. So 你, that's
you.
知道
No.
中国
China.
共
Total.
有
Have.
多少
How many?
个
Units is a measure
Yes,
word.
it's a measure word.
Yeah,
it's the most common measure word. 民族
Ethnic groups
吗
is a question mark.
Yes, see, you're just really good. Is there any word in the sentence that stands out for you? Do you think our listeners should pay attention to any of the word?
Well, I think the gong sometimes is used, the gong for total, sometimes is used as igong or zonggong,
yes.
together. So, but in a sentence, you can use just character alone, just
Yes.
gong alone.
That's an interesting phenomenon in the Chinese language. Usually, we like two-syllable words.
Right.
The modern Chinese enjoy two-character words because previously in ancient time, I think in ancient times, usually we have one-character word, and we didn't have any like exclamation marks or question mark or comma or period. We don't have any of those.
It was all one text, big text.
One big text.
Okay,
That is why for ancient Chinese learner or for those little kids living in ancient time, one very important lesson for them is to learn how to separate each and every group of words and putting them together, they would understand the meaning. So we call it 句斗. 句斗 is basically how do you group the characters or the words in that one huge passage. And later on we realize, we didn't really have to do that. We can
Right.
have some of the common. It helps us. And then in daily language, the idea is that if you have two character words, it's easier for people to not make any mistakes or misunderstand.
That is true.
Because we only have limited number of sounds in the Chinese language. Yet, when you put it in sentence, because usually the two-syllable words or two-character words, sometimes the two characters actually mean the same thing because you were expanding it from one-character word to two-character word.
Yeah.
So it can be omitted sometimes. It's the same thing for 以共总共 the example you gave.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So, 你知道中国共有多少个民族吗? Do you know how many ethnic groups there are in China? Okay, so the answer here is 是56个.
So 56.
56. So, 是56个是
Yes. 是 is.
is.
Yes.
56
56.
个.
And then again, the measure word.
Yes. And in the sentence, there's no subject. What's wrong with the sentence? It has no subject.
Well, but it's a direct answer to the question, you know. Again, the
Yes.
context, right? So, yeah.
Yes. And actually, it's kind of like saying 答案是56个. The answer is
对，
56.
答案是
But
对。
without the actual 答案, the answer, you don't really misunderstand it anyway. So different components can also be omitted in the Chinese sentence. And then, 每个民族都有独特的文化习俗.
Very good. I think your pronunciation is very good.
Thank you. And what does that sentence mean?
Okay. So basically, each ethnic group has its own distinct cultures and traditions.
Yes. So 每个.
Each one.
Can I say 每一个?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same. And again, when you only see a measure word without a number in front of the measure word, usually it's one. And
It's
usually
one, yeah.
it's omitted. Yes. 民族.
Ethnic group.
Ethnic group. Actually, 民, 人民, people. 族 is like group. So precisely people group.
Yes.
So 民族, ethnic group. 都有.
They all have.
They all have. They both have if we're talking about two. So
Yeah.
都 is saying every one of them, but in collective form.
Right.
独特.
Unique.
Unique. So 独, do you know what 独 means?
Sole, alone.
Yes, only.
Only,
特,
yes. Special.
special. So unique, 独特, it's special. It's the thing that only this one has.
Yes.
So that'll be unique. 独特. 文化,
Culture.
culture. 习俗,
Traditions.
tradition. So 习惯, that's habit. 俗, 民俗, custom. So that's what you do, what you're used to do in your daily life, and something that's in the custom of your ethnic group. So that would be a custom or tradition, something we do.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
每个民族都有独特的文化习俗，没错。
没错.
Yeah, this is a funny one because I want to ask you. I feel like I don't say 没错 that often in my daily life. Do you?
I do.
Oh, really?
I do.
So it's a habit thing.
It's a habit thing. Yes. And I got it from my friends. So if you don't, I think for me, it was an absorption thing. Like I had one specific friend that was with me frequently. We used to work together and she used to say 没错 all the time. So I started to say it.
Yeah, yo, that's also the thing.
Because you could say 对,
You can say 对, you can say 是呀.
对.
And one thing about learning Chinese, actually not learning Chinese, one thing about speaking any language, even if it's your own language, is that you get influenced by people around you quite so much.
Oh, yeah.
Your accent, your catchy phrase.
Everything. Yeah.
And it's a good thing. If you see that happening to your language, it means you're very sensitive to influence. It also means that you can learn a new language faster.
That is
because
true.
you pick up the habit faster.
Yeah, these habits are actually what turns your level into very natural.
Yes.
Right? It's like this...
没错.
没错. The mistakes, for example, on the first sentence that I said, that was the grammatical, there's a lot of mistakes. But like,
There are no mistakes.
But I understand what you mean. And it's very like, you could say the same thing without using that many words, let's put it this way. But that is what makes it very natural.
Natural.
Yeah. Yeah, in my case, I just pick it from other people.
Yeah, and gradually, because when I'm doing the show, I need to really carefully separate the personal habit with the actual rule in the language. Because sometimes I feel like I don't use this word with another word.
Right.
And it turns out it's only my personal habit. So when I was doing the research, I would make sure that if I say, okay, so this word cannot be used this way, I need to be right about it.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. So, but for those who are learning the language, you do not really have to think about it too much. You can just pick up whatever a native speaker is saying, and just gradually you would know whether or not it's his or her personal habit or something that you have to align with. But nevertheless, it's a native speaker. So copying what they're saying would only make your language level a bit better.
Yeah, copying is a good thing. In this case,
thing,
yes, definitely.
Yeah, so 没错。
没错。
还会举办少数民族运动会这样盛大的活动呢。
That's right, and they even hold grand sporting events.
Yes, so 还
Still.
会
Hui is tricky.
It is. It is a really
hui is tricky,
hard
but
one.
in this case means to do. It's close to do. Yeah.
Yes. So when it comes to hui, there are so many. I think on a certain language teaching page website, I see several pages of words describing how to use hui because it carries the meaning of a capability.
Yes.
It carries the meaning of something will happen, something that will definitely happen, but you do not want it to happen.
True.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know why it's specified, but 明天一定会下雨. It's saying it will definitely rain tomorrow, but I am also saying I don't want it to rain without saying it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So there are different meanings. So my suggestion would be that you remember how to use it in different scenarios without trying to remember why. Just remember how to use it.
Yeah, I think this is again the complexity of the Chinese language in terms of context, because sometimes actually if we sit down here and we talk in depth about the meanings of hui, I don't think we're ever going to finish it.
It's going to be a whole show.
It's going to be a whole show. And we're probably not going to get to the final answer. And if we come up with a huge list, it's not going to help anybody.
No.
So I will advise to do exactly what you just mentioned. Like, just accept it and pay attention.
Accept it.
Like, yeah. I accepted that you...
I like that way of saying
just
it.
don't, just be in peace with the fact that you're not going to get the whole list. And just feel it, you know what I mean? Because after a while, you would know when to use it without knowing why you're using it. You know what I mean?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And here, 会举行, it's not saying it will happen recently. It's not saying they would do it. It's like this is a constant. It's more like saying 少数民族, the ethnic minorities, they have this.
Yeah.
So they have this different grand ceremonies, sporting activities, things like this.
Yeah.
So,
but this is, I don't know why, for example, like, you know the feeling that, for example, is 还会举办, right? But like if I take the hui out and just say like 还举办, it's wrong. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know why, but it's just, there's something missing there.
You're really good already in Chinese.
It's weird, yeah.
Yeah, so 会. So if you want to say that something is a constant in certain occasions, yet you do not want to specify it's going to happen in 2 days, or it has already happened previously. It's just 还会, something 会 happen. So I think 天会下雨 is kind of like a good example. It's like it will rain. You don't know when, but for weather, raining happens. Raining is like one of the choices of the weather. So it happens. You don't know when, but it will rain someday.
True. Yes.
So that's the 会.
That's 会, yes.
And 举办.
举办 means to organize.
Organize.
But in terms of an event, an occasion.
Yes.
You know,
so
you can 举办 a wedding, you can 举办 an event.
Yes.
Yes. Ceremony.
Yes. And 举 carries the meaning of hold. It's like in English, you say you hold an event.
Yes.
But 举 actually can mean hold, like physically, you're holding something with your two hands. You can also use the character 举. And 办 is directly organize.
Yeah.
And 少数民族, that's one of the keywords of today's episode. 少数民族.
So altogether means ethnic minority.
Yes. So 少 means little or few. 数 is 数字 number. So 少数 actually means short in number.
Exactly.
民族 we know is already the ethnic group. So 少数民族 here in China we have 56个民族。那其中有55个民族的人数相对比较少，有一个民族的人数非常多，所以那个多数的民族呢就是汉族。So the Han ethnic group actually it's talking about here in China the context we're talking about the number of people, the population in the ethnic group. So 少数民族 it's kind of like a short form of saying it. We're saying that the ethnic groups that have fewer people.
Yes.
So that's 少数民族.
Precisely so.
Ethnic minority. 运动会.
Sporting events.
Sporting event.
Like, yes.
运动 is sport. Yeah. 会 is a meeting.
Hui is a meeting. Again, hui. You know, but in this case, it means meeting.
Yes. And also it's the same character because here we're doing a audio show. So we want to specify the difference between same pronunciation, different characters.
Yes.
And here it's the same character.
Yes.
盛大.
Okay, 盛大. Okay, this is good. Okay. 盛大, it means big. And short translation is big. But like you could just say da, right?
In this case, no.
Don't you think so?
Okay,
because,
so the idea is that here the sentence is 盛大的活动.
Because the 盛 here is just to emphasize how da it is.
Grand, yes.
You know,
it's like you use 盛大 to start with. You use 盛大 to describe 活动, to describe activity. You cannot use 盛大 to describe an architecture or a natural scene. So if you're seeing a huge mountain, even if it's still magnificent, you cannot really say 盛大. So 盛大 is about activity. It's about the activity that has a lot of people to take part in, that it's a huge grand ceremony. So 盛大 precisely is about a man-made activity.
Right.
That is the difference.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I'm finally teaching you something.
Yes. I'm learning. I always had a problem with like 盛大, 伟大, all the words you used before da.
Yes.
Like I was like, okay.
It's like the correlation you have to remember. Now you can just relate 盛大 with 活动. So 盛大的活动, 活动 is the activity here.
Okay.
And then, 哇,好想看一看呀.
I did not expect that. Yes. It means I would love to see it.
I would love to see it.
Yeah.
And yes, the reason that Vitor didn't expect is because the 哇 kind of expression does not happen in daily language that so much. Yet, for example, in written conversation, or even if it's a screenplay, that you want people who are reading it to understand the precise emotion that sentence carries, you would put 哇 there. And how to play it for different actors, it's their own interpretation. They might use 哇, they might use extravagant body language or facial expressions. But the idea is that the 哇, they can happen in daily language. It's just in different forms. It's not the 哇, my way of doing it is a bit too much on stage play.
A little bit, but it's like the thing. but it's true though. It's true because that 说法, the way of saying it, actually
depends on different people.
Depends on different people, yes. But there's specific characters that are just used to get the tone right.
Yes.
They don't mean it like the here. And it's like doesn't mean anything. It's just to get to increase it a little bit. Let's put it this way. Yeah.
Okay, and 好想 means I would love to.
I would love to. Yeah.
看一看.
look, to see.
Take a look.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is the conversation. Hopefully you've learned something. You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Honglin, and Vitor. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's see whether or not Vitor knows anything about the 少数民族运动会.
Oh my
and
God.
if he doesn't, I will again teach him one thing or two.
Oh my God. Okay.
Don't go
Okay.
away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Vitor. So, Vitor, have you ever heard about the 少数民族运动会?
运动会, actually, no.
How about 少数民族 here in China?
That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we say all the time when it comes to different ethnic groups, when it comes to the population. We would always say all of the 56个民族像石榴一样紧紧团结在一起. If you think about a pomegranate, because they have a lot of, how do you call it in English?
What?
The little actual fruit inside, when they're squeezing so close to each other. I don't even know how to say it in Chinese. 石榴籽, the seed.
The seed?
The fruit.
Could be the seed.
Could be the seed. And the idea, if you imagine a pomegranate, they are so closely squeezed with each other.
Together,
They're
yes.
so together. That's what we want. And that's actually what we have with different ethnic groups, because deep down you share something common. And yet you would have different, like we said in the conversation, different tradition, different habit, and even different ethnic group costume. And I love those costumes. One thing about Chinese, I don't know if you have noticed already, I'm pretty sure you have, is that in some other countries, if you're quote unquote borrowing ethnic costumes from other ethnic groups, it's sometimes not welcomed. But in China, it's totally welcome. People would think it's a compliment. You're saying that, wow, 你的民族服装好漂亮, it's very beautiful, can I try it on? They would always be super friendly and happy to have you try it on. When I was traveling around, especially for business trips and doing different shows in different parts of the country, I had tried on a lot of different, and I love them.
It is. It's very diverse. And actually, this is the ethnic diversity in China. I think is a lot of people, especially if you've never been to China before, a lot of people don't know, right? It's like because the Hanzu is so predominant in terms of numbers,
population.
Yes. That's what became the stereotypical Chinese idea, right? But like actually China is a very ethnic diverse country as well. And when you go to these regions of the country where the ethnic minorities live, you actually get to enjoy a different sense of even different food, different everything. And so it's really interesting. It's really interesting.
What was the one ethnic minority that got your attention over the course of 10 years?
I've had a few experience with ethnic minorities, but I think one that I got more, let's say, a deeper experience with was Miaozu.
Miaozu.
In Guizhou.
Guizhou.
Yeah. So I was like, there's this place called Xijiang from Miaozhai, something like that.
Yes, Miaozhai.
Miaozhai, yes, Miaozhai. And then it's Miao.
Miaozu.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
second
it's
tone.
Miaozu. Okay. And I were like Xijiang Miaozhai, and I went with a friend in Guizhou province, and we were like around the area, and we got into Xijiang, this place. We actually stayed there for a few days, and it was really interesting. It looks like all the food, and even they have their own local language as well, which is getting like, of course, 听不懂, you know what I mean? So it's like,
听不懂, 我也听不懂.
Of course, 听不懂, but like it's interesting. It was very, very. We're there. We did like some local painting using some local tools. Like it's very unique, very 独特 experience. You know what I mean? Yes.
In the meantime, actually, if you are a ethnic minority here in China, often you would be able to learn both your own language and the Mandarin Chinese. I mean, in school. So as for the paper test, they would provide two versions so that if you want to take the test in other language, I think it suits the situation for those ethnic minorities that have relatively larger number of people. Because if it's only hundreds of people, then no, not really. But you can still use your own language in your daily life.
And inside the 少数民族, there's different categories. I just meant that we have the Zhuangzu in Guangxi, for example, there are like millions, and you still have others that are like just a few hundred people.
Yes.
So it's They're not in the same.
It's a very interesting thing. And I think if I have the time, I would definitely do a lot more research and a lot more demonstration on different shows about the beauty of different ethnic groups here.
That is so true.
Yes. Do you know there actually is a traditional sports games of ethnic minorities in China?
Actually, I did not know. I knew, for example, the 蒙古族.
蒙古族, sure.
They have their own
yeah,
events in Mongol. I've heard of that. But I think it's between them. I didn't know it was a cross.
There actually is a cross different ethnic minority one. And there are a lot of fun, interesting, different kind of sports played because we all know the very international one, basketball, football. They're not boring. I'm just saying they're very common. Yet, for example, we have 珍珠球, pearl ball. Pearl ball for the traditional sports games. Pearl ball is formerly known as picking pearls, 采珍珠. Yes, evolved from the activity of collecting pearls by ethnic Man people, 满族, 这是一个满族的运动. It combines the characteristics of basketball, handball, football, and volleyball. So basically in that one ball, you have to do all these different types of things.
Right.
We would have 6 players from each team compete on a 28 by 15 meter court with the goal of the offense being to shoot the ball into a small net held by one of their teammates, while some of the defenders have pedals they can use to deflect the ball away from the net. So it's like doing multiple things on just one sport. And there are also Huapao. Huapao. The translation here is ethnic style rugby. It's kind of like rugby, but it's like rugby in the sense that you can also, quote unquote, attack other players.
Tackle
them.
Tackle, yes.
Thank you for using tackle. Yes, you can tackle them. You can do all these things. It can get a bit physical and can be very fierce competition.
Okay, I see. I see.
And there's also 木球, wood ball. This is not the kind of wood ball that you would see outside of China. There is an international wood ball, but this one is kind of like played on instead of a court, more like a grassland. So before doing the show, I also didn't know there are so many different types of very complicated and interesting sports.
I'm surprised. I actually I don't know any of them.
I think, literally. Yeah, when it comes to sport, many sports generate from a military training.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I feel like these sports are generated from actual games played within the ethnic group, in the clan, on the land, and you just find a way to entertain yourself by, playing different types of activity and sports with others, and you set your own rules, and after a while, the rules are accepted.
They evolve, right?
They evolve
into something bigger. Yeah.
So I would definitely assume these ethnic group grand games can be much more entertaining, especially if you are to watch them. I think it would be much more fun because the rules are much more complicated.
Definitely, yes, definitely. But I'm surprised with the diversity here.
Yes. So for those of you who are interested in the 民族运动会, actually we have our colleagues going to interview this 民族运动会. I'm pretty sure she's going to bring about a lot of fun interviews, fun videos. Just go to Learn Chinese Facebook page to see all of those. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Vitor here in the studio. For more fun episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cgtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. And thanks again, Vitor, for coming.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure. Hope I actually thank you because I learned a lot. So I'm happy.
I'm very glad, and I hope to have you back in the studio in the future. 非常感谢你的到来，非常开心。
是，谢谢你们的邀请。
Thank you for coming. And for those of you who are enjoying this episode, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.